You fail not because you lack strength, but because you lack vision. You assume integrity will protect you, that devotion will be rewarded. No, these are delusions fed to the naive to ensure their compliance. I witnessed monarchs crumble as grinning counselors filled their minds with lies. I observed nations fail because men trusted their foes held virtue. Authority is not held by the righteous. It is seized by the cunning. To turn the tide to your advantage, you must cease acting like a follower and begin strategizing like a sovereign. Master appearances, conceal your motives, encourage submission, crush defiance. Let them feel secure while you dismantle them. Never clarify, never defend, solely conquer. Your ethics mean nothing, only your comprehension matters. Compassion has value, but solely when it fuels dread. Faith is an instrument until it turns into a flaw. Seem gentle, stay merciless, grin with blades in the shadows. This is the path to dominance. This is the way to tilt the odds, and I will guide you, move by move, on its execution. You wish to turn the tables completely to your advantage? Then cease pursuing truth. Truth is feeble. Truth is meaningless. What counts, what actually counts, is appearance. People don't react to reality. They react to what they perceive as real. And perception is molded by what they witness, what they're told, what they're conditioned to accept. If you desire dominion, disregard evidence. Evidence is for thinkers. Sovereigns trade in delusions. I have witnessed men devoid of true power rule empires solely because others thought them unconquerable, and I have observed the truthful, those who revealed facts, who disclosed their strategies, who behaved honorably, butchered like cattle, not because they were mistaken, but because they were legible, exposed, foreseeable, feeble. The world is not ruled by essence, it is ruled by signs. If you seek to rule, manipulate what others observe. Genuine devotion isn't necessary, only the illusion of it surrounding you. True strength isn't required, only the semblance of strength. When others accept this perception, their behavior follows. They'll comply without orders. The dread of failing you will outweigh their fear of your enemies. The first step you must take is create a disguise, a face people will believe, respect, or dread based on what helps you most. Never expose your complete thoughts. The person who voices all his ideas turns into a slave to those who hear. Train to talk in deliberate pieces. State what aids you, nothing extra. Grin when you are preparing payback. Chuckle while you weaken your foes. Seem gentle when you're laying snares. This disguise isn't frailty. It's control. It grants you liberty. The liberty to move without opposition. The liberty to attack while others remain uncertain. Bear it like a shield, for when they trust in the disguise, they'll never spot the blade. Allow me to explain. Being dreaded is preferable to being adored if you can't be both. Yet dread should be applied with refinement. The crude despot falls swiftly. The cunning sovereign, who grins while gripping the dagger, he endures. When you discipline, act firmly and just one time. Make witnesses observe the outcome. Permit it to disperse like mist. When you compensate, make it resound. Allow it to echo through those who follow you. They should know your approval yields prosperity while your wrath delivers destruction. This isn't brutality, this is command. Compassion is worthwhile solely when it renders others compliant, and generosity is effective only when it conceals your purpose. Authority isn't preserved by affection. Affection is delicate, laden with demands, readily shattered. Dread is steady, reliable. It leaves people hesitant, and hesitant men are simple to govern. Yet if you genuinely desire to become invulnerable, you should advance one stage beyond. Make them require you. Establish reliance. Provide remedies but withhold the complete resolution. Extend assistance but guarantee they're incapable of enduring without your aid hereafter. Have them climb, yet solely on stairs you supply. Permit them to inhale, yet merely the oxygen you permit. When individuals are bound to your grasp for existence, they'll protect you against their own morality. They'll name your harshness power. They'll label your scheming insight. This is how sovereigns are forged. Most importantly, safeguard your standing. In every sphere, government, commerce, battle, your standing is your armament. It is equally your armor. You need to command your personal narrative, or another will craft it for you and wield it to destroy you. People don't mind what you accomplished. They mind what they're told you accomplished. Propagate your personal saga. Portray your treacheries as tactics. Portray your aspirations as duty. Transform each action into folklore. And should someone ascend to oppose you, don't merely break them bodily, demolish their reputation, annihilate their trustworthiness. A deceased adversary might evoke pity, but a disgraced one turns forgotten. You require no affection. You require no dread. You require no integrity or compassion or honor. You merely require to seem to possess all these traits when it benefits you. This is how you alter the contest, not gradually, not eventually, but immediately, while others compete for endorsements. You shall compete for dominance. And when they at last perceive the contest you're engaged in, it shall be far beyond remedy. You desire greater control? Then grasp this. Your adversaries aren't merely those who despise you. They include those who covet what you have, rely on you, idolize you. Each person poses possible danger. The prudent strategist readies himself not for obvious assaults, but for quiet treachery. The opponent who confronts you openly isn't perilous. He who grins while honing his weapon is. This is precisely why you should never believe surface impressions. You should never let your feelings distort your reasoning. When someone praises you, question, what do they seek? When someone concurs too readily, question, what are they concealing? When someone opposes, question, are they courageous or are they probing you? Distrust isn't irrational fear. Distrust is self-preservation. The powerful aren't necessarily the cruelest. They're the most vigilant. You must condition yourself to notice all details, posture, rhythm, pauses, the unspoken words. Individuals expose their true nature not through speech, but when they believe they're unobserved. Master interpreting quiet. That's where genuine insight lies. Collect knowledge about every person, particularly those closest to you. Whom do they dread? Whom do they heed in your absence? Whom do they covertly envy? Possess these truths, and you control the game. Stay unaware, and eventually you'll discover they've already undermined your footing. Yet never mistake alertness for commotion. Never respond excessively. Allow others to storm. You remain calm. The person who erupts displays vulnerability. The person who grins during assault frightens his foes. Quiet breeds doubt. Doubt breeds suspicion. And suspicion compels errors. That's when you act. Never disturb your opponent while he's crumbling. Observe him carefully. Nourish his delusion. Let him feel secure, honored, dominant. Then, when his defenses falter, eliminate him entirely. No theatrics, no visible display, only silent, precise elimination. And when they question the outcome, merely state, it was required. Erasure isn't necessarily physical. Frequently, standing proves the superior armament. A shattered identity inflicts greater harm than countless blades. A whisper positioned perfectly, uncertainty murmured at the ideal instant. This is how you annihilate targets without exertion. Should they question your dominance, never debate. Allow their own statements to unravel them, reveal their inconsistencies, highlight their flaws, and always frame it as fairness, never retaliation. If they protest, allow them. This merely verifies their culpability to observers. Yet heed this. Never eliminate an opponent partially. When you decide to strike, never injure. Eliminate completely. An injured foe retains memory. He will bide time, recover, and return for vengeance. An obliterated adversary is permanently silenced. Compassion is an indulgence for those who refuse to govern. You must choose immediately. You seek tranquility or you seek control, for these two seldom endure together. Never confuse solitude with power. A leader without sway is merely a marked man with a title. You require followers, but solely as instruments. Select associates based on utility, not devotion. Encircle yourself with assets, intelligence, connections, dread, reverence, and permit no individual to accumulate excessive dominance. Split your allies. Ensure every group depends on you beyond their mutual reliance. This equilibrium of strain is your command. Should they merge, you grow expendable. Should they vie for your approval, you keep your throne. Last, never disclose the true scale of your aims. Allow them to assume they grasp your target, when in truth it's merely your opening move. Conceal your final aim. The instant they discern your path, they'll attempt to halt you. Yet if they're convinced you're content, they'll drop their defenses. That's when you surge ahead, beyond them, over them, above them. The world favors not those who act quickly, but those who act unnoticed. Therefore, hear attentively. Scheme in darkness, hit without sound, and never justify. Master appearances, foresee treachery, attack solely once and thoroughly. All else is distraction, and sovereigns don't heed distraction. They control it. You wish to rule the contest? Then cease requesting authority and begin crafting it. Authority isn't a present. It isn't given. It's built, bit by bit, via influence, reliance, and calculated control. Allow me to instruct you in the following rule. Never struggle for what you can steer others to provide. The savage employs violence, the astute employ sway, and sway starts by comprehending what individuals genuinely desire, not what they declare, but what they yearn for. Approval, safety, notice, dominance, purpose. Nourish these appetites, transform into their source. Make them rely on you to feel significant. Offer them rank, praise, prospects, yet consistently link it to your advantage. When they triumph, allow them to credit their genius. When they falter, seem displeased, yet forgiving. In either situation, you stay superior, admired, dreaded, essential. Authority lies not in the rank, it lies in directing results. Should others consult you before choosing, you're already leading, regardless if your title is displayed. Status is ornament, mastery is truth. Master shaping choices from backstage, permit others to claim attention, permit them to bear the weight of visibility. You remain concealed, where true dominance operates. Now grasp this. Nothing endangers a leader more than the illusion of parity. You must constantly preserve mental dominance. Others should sense your superiority in thinking, in perception, in poise. Never display unease. Never exhibit doubt. Your assurance should be total, even when unsure. Why? Because control is magic, and the instant they detect wavering, the magic fails. Remain collected. Talk deliberately. Allow your quiet to demand greater focus than their noise. Frail men shout. Powerful men watch. Never undervalue the strength of restraint. Talk fewer words than needed. Show fewer details than anticipated. He who discloses all surrenders his defenses. He who remains silent compels others to occupy the void with dread. A hesitation may prove deadlier than a warning. A look may disturb deeper than a slight. Be intentional in all, your speech, your manner, your rhythm. Make them sense no part of you is unplanned. Your compassion itself ought to seem calculated. People pursue enigma, they dread it, they fixate on it, turn inscrutable, and you turn formidable. Now that you comprehend how to construct control, It's time you master how to render your standing impregnable. Understand, ascending isn't sufficient. You must become unshakable. Numerous idiots climb swiftly just to crash harder, having never anchored their base. I've witnessed hungry men seize authority rapidly, merely to be outplayed by those who knew how to shield authority through strata. This is where many falter. They triumph once, then grow careless. They mistake exposure for safety, yet real safety is forged through interconnection. Here's the method. Render your dismissal perilous. The instant others understand they can endure apart from you, they'll start arranging your departure, discreetly, courteously, even honorably. That's where it consistently starts. Therefore, before you ascend, embed your foundations firmly. Link your existence to their advancement. Establish yourself as the origin of advantage, of security, of entry. Don't offer them liberty, offer them your framework. Transform into the custodian, the connector, the focal point. Should they attempt to act independently, the entire network fails, and they're aware. When you govern mechanisms, you needn't direct individuals. Humans are unpredictable, mechanisms are dependable, so quit pursuing admiration. Begin creating frameworks that function while you rest. This is how monarchs govern kingdoms from silent seats, while rivals drain themselves battling for notice. Yet interconnection alone won't suffice. You must perfect the craft of substitution. Never permit yourself to be the sole actor. That renders you exposed. Rather, instruct subordinates, yet incompletely. Assign them duties, authority, command, sufficient to seem significant, but insufficient to turn self-sufficient. This achieves dual purposes. It maintains their devotion, and it ensures your indispensability. Should systems fail, solely you can restore them. Should emergencies arise, solely you can resolve them. This deception requires meticulous construction. They need to think the system functions through you, though subordinates perform the labor. Appearance, once more, outweighs reality. This explains why master strategists fabricate emergencies only to resolve them. Engineered peril succeeded by staged triumph. It solidifies your dominance. They'll hail you as deliverer, though you ignited the blaze. Should anyone attempt to unmask you, undermine them preemptively. Consistently target the bearer before the news circulates. Destroy their trustworthiness. Ridicule their history. Challenge their intentions. When they disclose your schemes, none shall trust their claims. When confronting public examination, acknowledge zero. Divert, pivot, or wiser, disclose a minor fault to conceal a major one. Offer a contained fire to divert from the inferno. This is how influential figures weather controversies, through guilt orchestration, not purity. Yet grasp this: immense control brings immense solitude. You must grow accustomed to the chill. The loftier your ascent, the scarcer genuine supporters become. Faces will grin, yet their grins carry hidden value. Never permit attachment to cloud your judgment. Allegiance requires constant verification. Confidence, when granted, must be re-established repeatedly. Those excessively at ease in your presence have ceased dreading you, and that marks the initial move toward treachery. Thus stands your survival doctrine. Establish command, implant reliance, scrutinize fidelity, and construct mechanisms that strengthen your reputation, not your sentiments. Sentiments belong to dreamers. Dominance belongs to those who sever passion like a necrotic appendage. You must endure beyond your adversaries, not by chance, but by calculation. Your objective isn't to battle each danger, it's to guarantee that when they challenge you, defeat precedes them. You've mastered ascension, influence, supremacy, endurance. Yet one ultimate skill remains, the rarest accomplishment: departing at the summit, silently, taking all. Understand this. The majority fail not from frailty, but from inability to cease. They claimed victory, yet persisted competing. That's when resentment intensifies. That's when opponents cease dreading and commence pursuing. Exists an instant when your dominance is absolute, inviolable. That instant is your departure, not from fragility, from calculation. Here the genuine strategist distinguishes himself. He doesn't perish center stage. He disappears with his wealth, his connections, his mysteries preserved, and bequeaths solely a myth. This is the method. Initially, establish a limit for your aspirations, one you keep silent. Upon attaining it, start withdrawing. Render colleagues more noticeable. Redirect acclaim to underlings. Permit them to believe they're ascending. Allow them to sense the burden of visibility. Yourself? You retreat into obscurity, not from failure but from command. Thus influence transforms into immortality. Next, transform your clout into advantage. Discreetly turn standing into assets, alliances into assurances, debts into safeguards. While rivals scramble for status, you've silently claimed the throne. You've transcended authority. Now you dictate the very landscape. Most vitally, eliminate every adversary, without exception. Annihilate or assimilate them, coerce them, shackle them, or grant sufficient ease to abandon their resentment. Never rely on a dormant viper. Obliterate or domesticate it, but never overlook it. With the board swept clean, commence your vanishing. Decline appointments. Reject accolades. Allow your reputation to resonate as your visage dims. Your vacancy will unnerve them beyond your former dominance. Why? The dread of an absent yet potent force outweighs the fear of visible authority. This is the supreme endgame, commanding all yet electing departure. Should you need to reappear, return as legend, not mortal, not through invitation, but by necessity, not to demonstrate worth but to reawaken their awareness. The contest they wage? You designed it. They'll scour your history for flaws, analyze your ascent, your tactics, your reign, yet fail to reproduce it. For dominance never resided in your actions. It dwelled in your intellect. You prevailed not through volume. You triumphed as the most silent hunter present. You didn't control through dread exclusively. You controlled through comprehension, belatedly. Thus sovereigns transform into myths, not through clamor, not through admiration, but through exactness, through quiet, through vanishing at the ideal moment, abandoning merely a vacant seat and a caution. Never confuse my departure for frailty. I've merely completed my intended purpose. At this point, should you grasp merely a fraction of these lessons, you surpass the threat level of average individuals. Yet this remains. The contest continuously transforms, and you must mirror it. Therefore, if you desire further insights, more calculated tactics, more unvarnished reality, more timeless dominance leveraged against contemporary fragility, subscribe this channel. Support this content to reach those prepared to awaken. Share it with those clinging to naive notions of virtue's reward. For virtue brings no prize. Success favors the ready. Victory crowns the ruthless. Triumph awaits you should you choose clear vision and decisive motion. This is the path to command the contest completely, immediately, irreversibly, unrepentantly. All else is static.